My name is Colleen Galvin. I'm part of MasterCard's North American team for small business. And this is part of a program called Digital Doors that MasterCard launched in the height of COVID way back in 2020, really trying to respond to the evolving needs of small businesses to get online, get digital. We've expanded so much since then. And I've just been so impressed with all the small business owners I've met who are embracing the change that digitization brings you. Again, as a global payments company, we really feel a strong responsibility to bring these innovations to you and put the wind at your backs, because you are the heart and soul of our local economies. And we know that when you do well, we do well. So I think you're going to get a lot out of tonight's session. This is the second in a 4-part series. We'll share the other links. But tonight we're talking about artificial intelligence for managing your finances. And we have a tremendous partner in Ramona Cedeno, who is the founder of her own company, so a small business owner like you all, called FiBrick. She's 20 years of experience as a financial controller for Fortune 500 companies. So she worked in this role not only on the most important basics of accounting for her clients, but really financial management. She's a certified financial planner and almost acts as an outsourced CFO for a lot of small businesses like you all. And so we have developed a relationship over the years. She's a small business mentor here in New York City. She serves on several boards and is always giving back to the small business community. We're going to be dropping a few things in the chat along the way to tell you about developments at MasterCard in artificial intelligence and tools that are free for you to use, and upcoming webinars on additional topics. But in the meantime, you all should have access to the chat and the Q&A. We'd love to hear who's out there. We've got a large crowd tonight. I wish we could have you all on camera. But feel free to say hello, your business, where you're from. And then if you can drop questions in as we go, we will try and make this conversational and do this in real time. So with that, I'm going to hand the floor over to Ramona.
Thank you so much. So happy to be back. If we were in person, I would say so back to be back home. We have done this a few times, and I was thinking as I was getting ready for this, I was thinking the good thing about doing this event at the end of April is that it's still light outside. The last time we did this, it was so dark around me, but today is great. So I wore my fuchsia for you all to show the springy time that we're in. Happy to be here. Let me start sharing my slides and get started. I'm very excited about this topic. All right, let me know if you can see my screen.
We see it.
Awesome. So let's talk about smarter finances with AI. I'm in love with AI, I have to say. I know different people have different views and opinions, and there is a lot of stuff we don't know, and I know I'm probably a little bit naive right now, but I love what it's doing for us and our day-to-day life and business. And I mean, I don't know how I survived without AI before. I don't know, but it's still getting a lot done like we did before. And tonight we're going to focus on how AI is enhancing what we are doing in finance, bookkeeping, payroll, tax compliance, banking. There is a change every day, something new, some new feature that your applications have, your software that you're using within your firm, not just in finance, but all the other applications that we are using. And it's funny, every day I see someone on LinkedIn saying like 100 things that ChatGPT can do, 10 commands or 10 scripts that you can use for XYZ. And I'm like, which one do I use? I have no idea when I see so many options, but I do know that for the applications that we are using, we are constantly trying to figure out what new features they're adding, whether it's enhanced with AI or not, that can minimize some of the manual work that we do. As Colleen mentioned, I am a fractional CFO for small and mid-sized firms. My company is FiBrick. We love what we do. We love all money, finance, and technology that enhances those processes. And we work with businesses that are starting out, mature already, larger businesses, as long as we can apply the processes and the skills and the tools that we have to make their processes better and support the owners or the management team, we will find ways to work with them. I also wrote a book on personal finances, Simple Choices, Big Rewards in Money, just because I love the freedom and the empowerment that money gives us, and just feeling comfortable with finances and numbers and money. That's something that I hope I can help others achieve as they work in enhancing that area of their life. How is AI tackling some of the challenges that small businesses have in the financial management space? We have for many years seen how manual some of the processes in bookkeeping or invoicing your customers, sending an order, sending a proposal, sending an estimate. A lot of those processes have been very manual over the last several years. And now with additional technology, new technology, and AI, we are able to save time in those tasks. Compliance, risk, and tax complexities. That's a challenge for a lot of businesses, for any business. And the tax complexities don't go away just because you hire a CPA or a tax provider, which I hope 90% of them go away. But if you are, for example, a business that needs to collect sales taxes and file those sales tax returns, and you are selling in multiple states, that process can be also time consuming. You can now, with the use of software that's out there, solutions that are using AI and are using smart technology, manage some of this internally in a better way. Of course, you can always outsource that, but initially, at the beginning, a lot of business owners handle sales tax compliance on their own and outsource the income tax compliance. The other area of taxes that is where we see AI helping a lot is payroll taxes. You are using payroll providers, but the tools that these providers are using, which you have access to, give you a lot of insights on payroll expense trends, changes in your tax rate for payroll tax withholdings or the employer's taxes. So this is another area where we can see AI making a lot of impact. Unpredictable cash flow. Cash flow is one of those processes, cash flow forecasting, that a lot of business owners were not paying attention to for many, many years, because it was, and it still to some extent can be a manual process. You have to sit there and figure out, how much am I going to collect from my customers this month, next month? How much do I have to spend in payroll and all the other expenses that my business has? Now, some of the tools that you use in your business for bookkeeping or payroll management can predict your cash flow based on trends that historically you've had, and collections have patterns from your customers. And then the last challenge that business owners have is the lack of real-time financial insights. And all of these challenges, if AI is going to help you address them, yes, we need some platform that incorporates AI that's going to help us tackle these challenges. Now, you may think that you're staying away from AI. The few people that I'm thinking are not yet using it fully, but you are using AI to some extent. If you are doing banking online, if you're doing banking on your phone, if you are using other tools that nowadays we can sometimes live without because you don't have a choice but to use certain tools. And in the case of banking, I've seen so many changes in the last in the last few months. Just recently, I saw that my bank was asking me if I wanted to connect Siri to my phone app, to my bank app. And the idea is that I would be able to tell when I'm in the app, I will tell Siri, can you please send a Zelle to my sister for $100? And hopefully, I didn't sign up for this, but hopefully it would ask me to approve it before it sends it. But I was like, okay, this one I'm okay keeping manually because I can just find my sister and type $100 and hit send and I'm okay. But we have mobile check deposits. We have in the app now you can see sometimes the option to apply for a loan because you qualify based on some data that the tool has gathered of your spending pattern, how much money you have in your bank accounts, and it makes some suggestions for car loans that you can qualify for, or other how much you're spending in entertainment versus food. All of these things are features and technology that we had in the past in some capacity, but now AI is making them more powerful, more robust, and more timely, right? So it's at your fingertips, it's easily available, and you can find it in your banking tab. If you're using it for business, your payroll company, your Shopify, I would say, but your merchant or your point of sale tool that you're using, if you're selling a product, they will have all access to this data and the patterns of collections, transfers that you're making. And with that information, they can make suggestions for you and they can also help you forecast.
Hey,
No,
Ramona.
go ahead.
I'm so sorry to interrupt. I just had a thought as you were going through this. It seems like what this slide is really telling everyone is like, don't be scared of it because we're already using it. It's just taking these tools that we've been using for a while and making it better.
Exactly, definitely. And the thing too, if anyone's scared about like how to use, what this means, a lot of these companies, especially big banks, they are taking precautions, right? They have the security is super enhanced too, with facial recognition or the different two step authenticator, 2FA, two-factor authenticator. With all of that, it's making a lot of this very safe. And at the end, we have I have some tips on how to save and protect your data and use AI with caution. And
Great, thank you.
thank you. So in the case of financial software, AI is automating manual tasks. I gave you some examples before, or I'll go through more as we go through the slides. It's reducing errors. There is matching that's happening. Oh, you're making a payment to this vendor, but that's above the amount that you typically pay them on a monthly basis. It's finding duplicate transactions. If you're using QuickBooks and you are trying to post a payment to your credit card, but you already posted that payment, it's saying, okay, this was already posted. Why do we have a duplicate transactions? The reason why that happens, they vary, but there is a chance that at some point your banking tab in QuickBooks will have something that's duplicated. It doesn't mean that it really happened in real life, but the data maybe was duplicated in error. The predictive analytics, again, the tools can look at how much have you been paying your employees over the last 3 months? You have 10 people, the payroll is equal to XYZ, and you're about to process a payroll that is a lot more. The system will tell you this is above your normal pay trend amount. So all of that is happening because we have AI that's enhancing the technology that these amazing companies have put together or have created for us. AI is also helping identify risks. You still need to analyze the risk. You still need to question the results of what the system is telling you. When QuickBooks tells you you have a duplicate transaction, potentially, you still have to look at it and say, okay, is this really duplicate, or is it that I sent two payments to the same person on the same day because Zelle only allowed me to send 2,000. So I had to send a separate transaction to the husband or the wife. So you have to still analyze where you're getting from the system to be 100% sure that it's giving you the result, but at least that it's giving you the truth, but at least now someone is alerting or something is alerting you of the potential error and preventing something that could result in you losing money or ending, having to do a bunch of research later on, wasting time. Any questions so far, Colleen?
I don't see any in the Q&A. Hang on, let me double check. Nope.
And I wanted to ask,
Okay.
just in the chat, if others, if everyone here can chime in and tell us how you think or believe you're using AI, how you know you're using it. Besides ChatGPT, which I hope that 31 of us are using ChatGPT for some purpose, but um, any other tools that you believe have AI in them that you're using?
Yeah, we'd love to hear about that.
You can put it in the chat and I'll continue.
Also, I just want to offer up that if anyone feels more comfortable asking a question on audio, we can probably, if you raise your hand, we can probably put your audio on. So that's an option too, if you don't feel like typing.
And every day at FiBrick, we are checking looking at what is new today. I have a lot of ideas of things that the systems could be doing. Sometimes I'm like, okay, I think AI is now probably doing this for us. Check if Bill.com or Gusto or QuickBooks, the tools that we're using, check if that's already in place. And a lot of times it is already there. Sometimes it takes a little while to be implemented, and things are changing every day. I mean, I'm not gonna go into like what all the technical stuff behind AI, but there is a lot of constant changes every day. I was on the advisory board with Gusto Payroll, and I had the opportunity to be with them, with the product managers and the developers. And it was amazing at how fast they can make something happen once they know what's the script that they have to write and say, okay, they used to ask us, like, what would you want to see in the tool? And we were like, oh, it would be great if you will tell us when this happened. And they're like, oh, so something like this. And they'll write a question. And a few weeks later, they could come back to us and say, we already implemented this. And it's just so impressive. I see some comments. Let me see if I can see. Okay, Copilot, Claude, Manus I never heard of. Interesting. Tell us what that does, Trudy. And
I was wondering about that one too.
yes, I'm curious what that is. Ah, deep research. I heard of that. Very good. Very good. Thank you for sharing. I don't see any financial tools in there. What does that mean? What does that mean? Are you all doing your own accounting, financial reporting, payroll, or are you counting on or you outsourcing, which is great too, but as long as someone is doing it. Let me go to the next slide. So here I have two tools that we use, QuickBooks and Xero. And we love QuickBooks, and it does everything that we want system to do in bookkeeping and accounting. When when a client comes to us with they're already using Xero, we keep them on that tool. We don't migrate them to QuickBooks Online. We stay away from other systems. We love all accounting systems. I have experience in NetSuite and Sage, but to enhance the skills and the knowledge, we prefer to stay within a few tools so that we can get very good at those. So what we have seen with this tool is that you can now auto categorize expenses. You can create rules, but the system can detect, I'm going to play this, I don't know if it just for fun, the system can find pieces of information that matching, kind of three-way matching, is like this, the description says this is possibly a taxi expense, and it will say, okay, let's assign transportation to that, but it also reads that the vendor is XYZ. If you have a payment for an invoice, it will say, okay, you have a potential match here for this invoice. Is it related to this? Or you're missing, there is a portion that's missing, but so you have a difference. So there's a lot that the systems are doing to reduce our thinking, the time that we spend thinking and researching and trying to figure out like where to go next. It gives us a lot of suggestions. Again, it flags unusual spending and duplicate transactions. The cash flow prediction with QuickBooks is really good, based on in predicting cash flow based on historical data. It will be able to tell you, this customer or client that pays you every 60 days is going to forecast that in 60 days you might get, if you have an outstanding invoice, it will forecast that in 60 days that customer will pay. If you are using Zoom every month and there is a transaction for Zoom, it will predict that you'll have the same expense for the next few months. You will still have to add the one-offs if you're using something like QuickBooks. So, for example, if you are expecting a large sum of money from a loan that you're going to get, that you have been applying for, and you're about to get it, you will have to add that to your cash flow forecast if you're using QuickBooks. There are other tools out there that are specifically for budgeting and forecasting. So their features are going to be even more enhanced, but those tools don't have necessarily the historical data. So one piece might be missing, right? So this one, QuickBooks, is going to have your trends already because you're using it for bookkeeping. If you have another tool that's just for forecasting, for that tool to be optimized better, it's better if it's connected to QuickBooks. So it's pulling some data. Sometimes those tools can be connected to your bank also. So now they have bank data, they have QuickBooks data, and they use other information that you give it access to help you with the predictions.
Ramona, are these tools built in automatically, or do you have to subscribe at an extra fee? Like if you're already using QuickBooks, this comes with your regular license fee?
That's a great question. Yes, these companies are competing, right, for a lot of to retain our services, right, our accounts. So they're adding a lot of these features at no extra cost. The only time they will charge you for something extra is if it is a different module. So in this case, QuickBooks includes all of it in one, but let's say you're using a tool that says, you get, for the basic tier, you get payroll, P&L projections. But if you upgrade to the next one, you will get cash flow projections. That's just like a different module within the same tool. It's not about the technology that they're using within the specific tier that you register for or sign up for.
Got it. Thank you.
So just to close here, if you are outsourcing your bookkeeping and your tax financial reporting, and you have a bookkeeper that's working and on these accounts and doing all of this work for you, these tools and these features are still beneficial for you because you can go in and you should always get access to all your software, even if you're outsourcing the process, the process of creating financials, doing the bookkeeping, processing payroll. You still have the right to own those accounts, and you can go in and play with the reports, and you don't have to wait until your accountant sends the stuff 2 weeks later. You can, if you get familiar with the system, you can go in and see, like, what is my cash forecast today? What is it, next week? Or how many transactions are pending categorization here? I need to reach out to my accountant and see why we still have, you shouldn't have to do that. If you have an accountant that's doing this for you, you shouldn't have to remind them to do the work. But if you have questions that you want answers to, and the system is able to give you those answers real time, you can, you definitely have the access to that data. Let me see if there is any comments. Oh, yes. Thank you, Alan. Yes, if you have questions or comments or stories you want to share, please put them in the chat. Trulian said, let me see, what do you say? I forgot to read that about Manus. But I use Manus for real-time variance and KPI dashboards. Very good. Do you connect it to your, do you sync it to your bookkeeping application, Trulian? I'm wondering, to do the KPIs, I'm assuming you have to connect it to something. Okay. And you're saying QuickBooks uses a built-in AI, but you need to be careful. Okay. Yeah. Just always double check the suggestions that the tool is giving you. Great points. All right, let's talk about payroll and HR. And I have two sample providers here. We have known of ADP for ages, right? Gusto is newer in this space, and they're very innovative. We also have Paychecks and TriNet and JustWorks. A lot of these companies are staying up to date on AI features. They're somehow they know what the other one is doing, and they improve on a regular basis. We use Gusto internally, and a lot of our clients use it. But I love how they have made the process of payroll tax compliance so easy to manage. The benefit suggestions that they make for your employees. If there is something, and I'm going to speak. I'm assuming that a lot of other, I was going to say restaurant, I don't know why. Maybe I'm getting hungry, but a lot of the payroll companies probably have the same features. But what they are doing in terms of making sure that your rates for unemployment insurance are updated, that any withholdings changes are also updated automatically. And some of these companies are pulling this information directly from the state tax agencies, which is great. It's like real time. You don't have to get a notice from your employer, not from your tax agency, and then give it to your payroll company to manually update it. And then if you forget to do that, you then get a bill at the end of the year. That it's gone. Now there is real-time access to this information by a lot of these service providers. And it's such a relief for us as accountants, if we're helping our clients in this area. It's a relief because it's like these companies are taking responsibility for making sure that your compliance requirements are up to date. Error checking in payroll runs, finding again anomalies in the calculations. If an employee is typically contributing X amount to 401k, and for some reason you're not submitting the right amount, it will give you a flag, right? So this is compliance monitoring, right? It's keeping you in check and making sure that you're protected from stepping outside the line of the requirements that some of these 401k plans have, or the tax agencies have. Your employees are happier because their paychecks are accurate. And again, technology to some extent has been there, but AI is making this so much faster, better, and it's taking away a lot of the worry that we used to have when we're like, the payroll run, is it accurate? Do I have to double check and triple check? I think it's a life-changing opportunity. So when you are looking for a payroll provider or any software company that you want to implement in your processes, if you are someone who is looking for this AI features or this ease of working with these tools, then you want to do your research. You want to find out like what is new with this software, what features does it have that is going to condense some of the processes that you're doing now or consolidate some of the processes that you're doing now. And now, of course, you have to make sure that they are protecting your data, that they have all the safeguards in place to make you feel at peace that at least what they can control, they are controlling. Now pause for a second because I said a lot. Let me see what's in here. Wendy is saying that QuickBooks, oh no, I think you said that. Okay, nothing new, but I think that if some of you are using some of these tools, I would like to know what type of messages are you getting when you go into, let's say, QuickBooks or Gusto, that what alerts are you getting that you believe are related to AI improvements or AI updates? I would love to hear that because I see them as an accountant. They are different sometimes than what the business owner see on their accounts. I love to share, like similar to what I love you to share, similar to what I mentioned about the phone before. Like, okay, do you want to connect Siri? Do you want to um, implement your facial recognition for when you are making a deposit? Something like that. I would love to see what you're experiencing. But any other thoughts, Colleen, or questions?
No, I don't see anything in the Q&A. And I should have mentioned at the top of the hour, we have a hard stop at 7, so we only have the benefit of Ramona's expertise for another 25 minutes or so. So please don't be shy, guys.
No, don't be. And it's still light out. I don't know where everyone is, but I'm in New York and I'm loving the weather today. But oh, I see. I think I see a comment. So Wendy said that you get notices for wage percent changes from Gusto. A great help. Yes, the state notices. I remember when they implemented that. We were talking about it at the advisory board meeting. If I think it was in 20, maybe at the end of 2024, and they were working on this and figuring out how they were going to pull that information from all the states because, as you know, probably know, it also depends on how the data is accessible at the state level, right? How tech forward the state is and how they make that connection or integration between the technology on the Gusto side and the technology on the state side. So it's always intriguing to me how everything just works out. And how everything comes together and like without having to be in a room and talking, and having to talk to the person on the other side is just very incredible. All right, so let's talk a little bit about expense management. And this is, some of you may not have some tools like this, but these tools are very, very helpful when you have employees or partners that are either using corporate credit cards, or are submitting reimbursable expenses. With a tool like Expensify, Ramp, Divi, Divi is owned by Bill.com. Ramp is actually a credit card, and I believe now a bank. They also offer a very quite nice expense management system. What these tools do is that they allow the employee to easily scan their receipts and create expense report or from the app. But the system with AI is reading, is scanning the receipts and helping predict and guess what the expense is for and where it should go in your general ledger, right? Because eventually in your financial statements, the general ledger that fits a financial statement, the income statement. So is it a car expense? Is it food? Is it, whatever the expense is, it will help save time, and increase accuracy. And if you're using QuickBooks, the QuickBooks app, QuickBooks is also doing this. If you are looking to attach receipts to your expenses and categorize them through the system, you can do that with the QuickBooks app. Another thing I forgot to mention, which is pretty neat, is that QuickBooks is able to create an invoice within the system. If you have category, let's say you have spent some money on behalf of your customers. You pay for your customers' travel. Let's say you are in marketing and you want to bill the client for that expense. QuickBooks is going to say, you want to create an invoice from this? And you say yes, and it just creates the invoice for you. And it does this for a few things, in a few other areas. So this is just unbelievable. And if it will take a little bit of time to get used to it and to set it up, it's not like you require any programming or any, it's just like understanding what is coming from this scanning step. What of that information that the scanner is giving me is always accurate? Where do I have to be more careful and review and triple check? And is it reading the dates properly? Is it assigning the right category? Is the amount okay? It takes a little time for you to understand the process and understand the risks so that you can tweak and also decide where you have to be more involved and where you can relax a little bit.
Hey, Ramona, we do have a question, although it's in the chat. Sammy Lynn is asking, we are a construction company. Do you have any suggestions on app or AI tools for field worker time tracking, login, and off the job site, etc.?
There was one that I don't remember the name right now, but a few years ago, I knew of one that was specific for the industry. And I will find it and maybe we can share it later on.
I feel like we had a company like this at one of our MasterCard events recently, and he had worked for one of the big, like Tishman Speyer he had a really interesting, easy to use mobile-based app. Sammy, we can follow up with you after this.
Yeah, it had like a person's name for some reason, the app. But what I was going to add, Sammy, is that some of the payroll companies are enhancing, including Gusto. They have time tracking applications, and they're constantly trying to enhance it for the industry that you are in. If they have a lot of customers in that industry. QuickBooks bought T-Sheets. If anyone has heard of T-Sheets, please put it in the chat. T-Sheets was its own time tracking tool, and QuickBooks acquired it. And I believe it's pretty good. I don't know if it's good for your specific industry, but they have a nice time tracking tool. Gusto is enhancing theirs too. But here you're getting some suggestions, some recommendations here on the chat. But good question. I always say before you transition to a new application, think about how scalable it is, and also think about which other application you might be getting in the next few months that may have that tool incorporated in it. So let's say you're using QuickBooks Payroll and you're thinking of changing to another payroll provider. You are thinking about a new payroll provider. You're also thinking about this timesheet app. Hold on a little bit to see if you will end up getting a payroll software that will also incorporate or meet the needs that you have for the time tracking. Great. And someone gave you a link there. Thank you, Amber. Tax compliance. This is a biggie if you are in products, if you are an e-commerce, if you are selling if you have a marketplace where you're selling or shipping goods to different states, you may be I'll just tell you this. So if you're selling on a marketplace and you're shipping goods to clients in other states, each state is going to have its own set of rules around when you need to start collecting sales taxes. And a lot of times it's based on the sales volume in that state. As long as you don't have an employee, an office, assets, like a warehouse in the state, the trigger for when you need to start collecting sales taxes is how much you're selling in that state. And each state is going to have a different threshold. With sales tax application software, which are also super enhanced now with AI, these companies, this software are monitoring when you're approaching that threshold, the minimum sales number that's going to require you to register in that state to collect sales taxes. And when you need to start collecting. So the tool is going to tell you your sales over the last X months have been X. It's time that you start registering in that state for sales tax purposes. And it also updates the sales tax rates automatically as the states change the sales tax rates, which some of them do on a random basis. It will automatically feed those into your calculation. Is going to connect. If you're using, for example, Avalara is integrated, which you have to integrate in order for this to work with your point of sale system, Shopify, Stripe, or whatever you're using, Square. The two connect and talk to each other, talk to the states for the sales tax rates, find discrepancies if one is not collecting enough. When if you're not collecting enough through the Shopify system, but Avalara has a calculation of what it should be, you'll get those flags saying like, you're short in the collections or you collected too much. So all of this, again, helps with compliance risk, right? You don't want to be in a situation where you're getting a notice from state a year later, 2 years later, telling you that you're behind in sales taxes. You should have registered a year ago, but you didn't. And having these tools handy when you are growing, you don't have to set them up initially when you're just starting out, as long as you're selling in a couple of states. That doesn't mean you're not collecting sales taxes or paying them. It's just easier for you to manage. If you're only selling in 1 to 3 states, you can manually research the rates, collect, and pay. But as you grow, that's really hard to do. And again, this is all about saving time and reducing risk. So we want to make sure that we are taking advantage of the tools that are out there. And Alan, I was looking at the chat. Someone is asking you to repost something.
Yeah, it's the clickable links to the 2 webinars. We can do that, sure.
Okay, great. Let me check the time.
Next 2 in the AI series.
Yes, very good. Awesome. Let's see what else.
So it's about 1:15.
Yes. Yes, we're good. I'm good with time.
Okay.
Yes, thank you. All right, so AI versus human expertise. With AI, we can automate bookkeeping, payroll, tax filing. We can identify trends and flag risks. We can reduce errors and improve efficiency, which all hopefully is translating into saving of time, saving of money. You can free up your time to sell more, to train better, to enhance your processes, right? Instead of having to sit there for 4 hours running payroll and identifying duplicate transactions by matching what's in the bank to what's in QuickBooks, right? Or whatever other system you're using. This is happening for you in the background. Where AI still falls short is in the ability to understand your business goals. That's still you. So you still have to know where you want to go, how you're going to get there. And then you can leverage AI to assist you in reaching those goals. The expertise in maximizing tax strategies, that's still on us. If you ask AI a question about something about the doctor, right? How do I reduce XYZ? It's going to give you some feedback and it's going to say, it's better to consult the doctor. I haven't done that search, but I imagine it will do that. When I do search something about tax, it will say consult a tax expert. And I'm like, I am the tax expert, but okay. It doesn't know that, right? It doesn't know who's asking the question. So it's still important that you are the one behind the strategy, behind the thought process, and then judging like which financial decisions to make using whatever information you're getting from these AI enhanced tools. Let's say your cash forecast is telling you that you are going to have $50,000 in excess cash and then next month. You still need to think about, is that real? What is the system missing that I need to incorporate, right? Otherwise, if you say, okay, great, I have $50,000, let me just go spend 30 in whatever. And then the day comes when you don't have $50,000, you only have 32,000, and then we're in trouble. So leveraging AI without losing control of your data, of your processes, evaluate the tools that you are using now that you want to incorporate or bring into your business. Check for the AI features that they have, what do you want the tool to do for you, and based on your evaluation assessment, pick the one that is the best fit for you. Automate as many tasks as you can. I know it can be time consuming sometimes to just set up the automation. Use staff that you have that maybe has a little extra time. If you can see that they have, an inclination to learn about these tools, assign some research parts to them and let them implement part of the processes that you want to implement. If you have different tools, find ways to integrate them. The timesheets, the time tracking tool that you're thinking of getting, you will want to integrate that potentially with your payroll system. So if the timesheets are approved and they feed your payroll system, now when you're processing payroll, the payroll is going to have the number of hours that the person worked, and you just have to probably click another 2 or 3 buttons or one, and the payroll is going to be processed, rather than you having to copy from your time sheet application into your payroll tool and potentially making an error, leaving something out. The integration is going to help you save time and reduce errors. And use AI to make better decisions. All these predictions and all this automation, the idea is that when you have to make a decision, you have data more readily accessible to you, and hopefully more accurate than what we used to have in the past. The accuracy again comes with you reviewing the output before you use it, and then between the AI and your assessment, you reach a better level of accuracy. And consult with an expert in the areas where you see that you still need that support, right? In areas where the compliance is so much and so complex that you cannot rely on just a tool to tell you what to do. These are just some examples of business lending platforms, Lendio and Fundbox. Those two are popular in our small business community at FiBrick, where they connect with some of your sales systems, and they can determine how much you are eligible for in terms of loans. There are others. If you're using PayPal, Stripe, QuickBooks, they will make suggestions for loan amounts that you qualify for, and that's by reading the data that's in the background from your sales. Be careful with interest rates, of course. It's very good to see you qualify for $100,000. Okay, read the fine prints, make sure that they're not going to box you into a loan for 2 years when you might want to pay it before, and also that the interest rate is not excessive, that is within the market range.
And in the interest of full disclosure, Lendio is a MasterCard partner, and we did not consult Ramona on this content beforehand. So That's nice to see that they're in your circle of recommended partners.
I didn't know that. Wow. No, our clients use, yes, yes, very good. I didn't know that. I should have known that. But yeah, no, Colleen didn't ask me to recommend them. Which, by the way, MasterCard does a lot of amazing things. So, as a credit card, but we didn't touch on credit cards today.
No, no, no. This isn't about credit cards, but thank you.
Right. Exactly. Um, some tools which I have been speaking about for core financial operations, Gusto for payroll, Bill.com for vendor payments. If you have a large volume of vendor payments a month, and you have maybe you want to implement workflow for approvals and policies for where each of the payments goes and who has access to what. A tool like Bill.com is good, but there are many others. These are just the ones that we are using day in and day out. But not to say that these are the best. They're just tools that are good to automate these processes. With Bill.com, you have a lot of the features that we have talked about about QuickBooks and Expensify or some of the other tools that have to do with error detentions, prevention of errors or payments going to the wrong person. Now there is a lot of security that is in place with some of these tools that are dispersing your cash. The security is pretty tight. I haven't heard of someone saying, Bill sent the wrong amount to a vendor or my payroll was wrong without my approval or anything like that. I haven't, but I'm not to say that doesn't happen, but I haven't seen that. Some tips for AI security. Don't share sensitive data with AI tools that don't have the right safeguards in place. So payroll, of course, has access, goes to have access to your payroll data. QuickBooks will have access to certain personal data, but they are already designed and have the controls in place to protect your data. If you are implementing a new app, you find an app that says we can read, we can look at your bank and approve it for a loan. You have to be very careful with those. Don't just use anything. If it's within your bank, then it's okay. But some third-party app, I would be very hesitant to just give it access to any of my personal data. Use trusted platforms with the proper security. Control what AI has access to. And this is, for example, if you're using Copilot or ChatGPT and you're trying to integrate it with some of your applications, you would want to just, be able to give it access to what you want to. We don't upload anything to ChatGPT ever, because as we know, that's not really protected. It can be shared or made available to some extent. I don't know exactly how it's happening, but I hear that we should not put anything in ChatGPT because it's not within our server, right? It's out there. And set clear policies and permissions for yourself, for the tool, for the people that work with you, making sure that who should be using what tool and for what. If you are concerned about someone giving access to a tool that they should not, maybe that person shouldn't have access to that tool, right? You need to control the access yourself and not give it to your employees. And check your AI tools regularly. Make sure you're closing accounts that you're not using, applications that you're not using, that on your phone, you delete the apps that you don't trust that you're not using so that you can stay safe and protect your assets and your money and your business and your reputation. And that's all I have. And let me see the time, 6:55. That was perfect timing.
Pretty impressive. Pretty impressive. And guys, take advantage of staying in touch with Ramona. I follow her on LinkedIn. She's always got great content on there. Thank you again. This was a great session. I'm just double checking the chat and the Q&A to make sure we don't have any last questions. I think you made it pretty clear, Ramona, that you are a big fan of AI and it's helping you as a small business owner. And you've also made it clear where it can't replace human smarts, human wisdom. Has it, if you don't mind me asking while we close, has it changed How has it changed your business in terms of how you serve your clients? Do you need fewer people to do what you do with them, or are you just reallocating resources in different ways?
Yes, no, we have more people because now I have the marketing person that's using all of our AI tools to market our business.
Okay.
And it doesn't reduce the staff, it allows us to add more services. So now
Okay.
yes, we're actually offering more services than we did before because now the team is available to do some of that work. In the past, if someone came to me and said, "Can you help me with the loan application?" We don't do that, right? But
Yeah.
now it's like someone on the team can help you with that
Yep.
because they have the capacity.
Fascinating.
Yes. Thank you.
Fascinating. Well, thank you again for all the great information. For those of you that we have emails for, we will send out or make a link available to Ramona's slides, and hope you can join us for the next couple coming up in May and June. The links are in the chat. Thank you again, everyone. Have a lovely afternoon and evening, and we will see you soon. Thank you, Ramona.
Thank you. Thank you, Wendy. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye.